It has always been the awkward and the free thinkers in this world that have found solutions to problems where others could not. Free thinkers who are willing to look at something from a different angle, out of their paradigm, that others do not. One such person was a Mr. Bill James. Mr. Bill James was just a lowly security guard working the night shift cannery in Kansas City, Missouri, when he found an idea that would transform this world. Analytics in business is quite often used objectively in many cases, whether in its regards to the environment, whether it's in regards to safety, whether it's in regards to improved profitability, efficiencies, etc. But in this case, Mr. Bill James used analytics in business to transform the baseball world with a multi-billion-dollar idea. Mr. Bill James wrote a paper in the 70s that was never really read by anybody till 2005, when Mr. Paul DiPiesta, Yale graduate, who was working for the Cleveland Indians at the time, decided to do his apprenticeship based on the analytics of this paper. It had been near 25 years that anybody had even think to use this paper. In 2005, the Oakland A's, a very loved team of a community that was going through transition. Oakland's the often forgotten other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. Oakland's lost its football team, has high unemployment, and it's an area, like I said, it's going through a lot of transition. So their salary is tough to keep down because baseball doesn't have a salary cap. Billy Beane, our manager, had a heartbreaking year that year. They just about won it all. But unlike most of the teams in sports, and people who are from Winnipeg could probably relate to this, they didn't have enough money to keep paying their players year after year. So his team was gutted. He lost his best three players. Jason Isringhausen was gone, Jason Giambi, and Johnny Damon, all to bigger markets. Mr. Bean was at a loss. He felt like giving up. And then he came across this Paul DiPiesta when he was at a meeting with the Cleveland Indians. And Paul DiPiesta took this gamble to talk to Mr. Billy Beane after, and he said, basically, I've got this idea. It sounds a little crazy. So what Mr. Billy Beane did was he took the time to listen to somebody who was out of the box. And this any idea, and as we all go through this world, we find that it's those also willing to take a moment to listen that make the big difference for these people who are the free thinkers. So in this case, it was Mr. Billy Beane. And Billy Beane gave it a chance. Basically, what they did is they used on-base percentage to figure a way to put a team on the field. And if you watch the movie Moneyball, it's pretty close to how it went down. Most of the players who take walks and do the unglamorous things were not regarded as very valuable. And they targeted these players. They targeted these players who could strike out batters and players who had a high on-base percentage. And in the beginning, they were failing. And like people who usually are out-of-the-box thinkers like this, they're ridiculed. You're going to fail. This idea is not going to work. But it did. After 50 games in, I believe they were 21 and 29, and all of a sudden things started to click. And people bought into what they were doing. And before you know it, towards the end of the season, they broke a record that has not been broken. They won 20 baseball games in a row. Now, if you take the probability of 50% and work it down there, it's going to go 50%, 25%, 12.5%, 6.25%, 3.25%. By the time you get down to a 20-game winning streak, you probably won the lottery 2 or 3 times. That's the kind of idea Mr. Bill James had. And that's the kind of idea the free thinkers of this world continually bring. People are willing to take the passion out of their thinking and not be subjective. The people are willing to look at the hard facts and analyze things. These are the independent thinkers we need in this world. People who can help solve our environmental issues. People are going to help our oil get to the West Coast so that people of Alberta can be successful again. There are always solutions. If you have a positive attitude, you can find them. Analytics in business is the key to everybody's solution. Thank you for taking the time to hear this story. Please look into the story if you have a moment for yourself. Mr. Bill James is a colorful character, and this story is wonderful. It's one of the few success stories in the last 2 decades that I've really enjoyed reading. Thank you so much.